All right, here we go. Question number 1, bell ringer, right? What's the absolute value of 6? 6 is right. Okay, here we go. It is indeed 6. What's the absolute value of negative 6? 6 is correct, Amundo. It is indeed 6. And remember, absolute value means the distance that a number is from 0, right? Okay, we talked about that. All right, so look, common sense. If the absolute value of 6 is 6, if the absolute value of negative 6 is 6, then the absolute value of x equals 6. So how much would x be? Be smart. There is right. Say it again. 6 or negative 6. It would equal 6 or negative 6 is right. Okay? So what did he just learn? When you solve an absolute value equation, there are 2 answers to it. There are 2 answers to it. Everybody clear? Okay, then that's commonplace here in algebra. All right, so here's example A on your notes, right? All right, and you're solving for this absolute value equation. Is the absolute value by itself? No, it is not. No. What do you have to do first to get it by itself? Add 5 to both sides. That's what you just saw in the film. You add 5 to both sides. And I just messed up here. Hang on a second. Let's try this again. Okay, here we go. Add 5 to both sides. So we're adding 5 and we're adding 5. Okay? So you get this. 2 absolute of x minus 1, okay, equals 6, right? Okay, now is the absolute value by itself? No, it is not. So what do you have to do next? Divide by 2. Divide by 2, right? Divide this side by 2, divide this side by 2, right? These 2 2's cancel. Absolute value of x minus 1 equals 3. Okay, now is the absolute value by itself? Yes, it is. Right. Okay, so now you do what they said on the film, okay? Remember, drop the bars, that's where this button fell down to the ground, and write it down twice, okay? So I'm dropping these 2 bars, right? Writing it down twice. One is the positive, right? And then the other one is the negative. Like they say, like the first word relative, right? That's a negative one. Okay, all right, now what do you do to get x by itself? Add 1 to both sides. Yeah, you see, this is easy. This is kid's place what he does. Add 1, add 1. So x equals how much? 4, or x equals, here, add 1 to both sides, or x equals how much? Negative 2. There you go. There's your answers. The problem's over. You're done. There you go. You just did the first absolute value equation. All right, so here comes the thing. X equals 4 and x equals negative 2. Then they're going to ask you to graph this. Now, this is pretty silly right now, this drill, but you'll see why we do it in a second. So what the answers are, x equals 4, right? So you go to 4 and you put a point. And x equals negative 2, right? Okay, so you go to negative 2 and put a point. That's all there is to it. And once again, you'll see why we're doing that in a second. Okay, so all good on the first one. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, now we're going to try these. So this is our A, right? Okay, so look at the first one. This is part A, AA, right? Is the absolute value by itself? Yes, it is. Okay, so it's by itself. Drop the bars, write it down twice. So I'm dropping the bars, I'm writing down the positive. I'm dropping the bars, I'm writing down the negative, right? Okay, now what do I do to get the x by itself? Add 2 over, right? That's easy. Okay, so add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2, right? So what does x equal? X equals 5, or x equals what? Negative 1. There you go. There are your answers right there. Problem's over. Okay, let's go to B. Is the absolute value by itself? No. Okay, so what do you have to do? Add 4, right? Add 4 to both sides. Add 4, add 4. Okay, so what do you end up with? Absolute value of x minus, well, and it's plus 1, isn't it? Okay, it's my fault. I messed up on that. Okay, it's plus 1. I forgot. Absolute value of x plus 1, okay, equals how much? 2 equals 2. There you go. Okay. All right, now is the absolute value by itself? Yes, so drop the bars, write it down twice, okay? So write it down. 1 is the positive, or write it down. 1 is the negative. There you go, like that. Okay? All right, now what do you do to get x by itself? subtract 1. Okay, so what will x equal? X will equal 1, okay, or x will equal 1. Negative 3. There you go. You got it. There the answer's right there. Okay. All right, so let me ask you, is the absolute value by itself? All right, so what do you have to do? Subtract 4, right? Okay, so subtract 4 from both sides. Good job, okay? So subtract 4, right? So you should get an absolute value x minus 3, right, equals 0. Okay, now drop the bars, write it down twice, right? So you got x minus 3 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals negative 0. Oh, wait, negative 0? Well, wait, is there any such thing as a negative 0?
No.
Is not 0 just 0?
Yes.
Right, so what have you just discovered? Whenever it equals 0, how many answers are there going to be? Just 1. There's just one answer to these. And it equals 0. Okay, and then all you do is add the 3 over, so what's the answer? X equals 3 is the only answer. There's 1 on this one. So almost everybody got it. Yeah, one person, one group, they've got 2 answers on it. It's just one answer, it's x equals 3. Okay, everybody get there. All right. Take off 3, as you say. Subtract 3 from both sides, right? All right, you get the absolute value of x plus 2, okay, equals negative 2, okay? Everybody good so far? All right, now listen to me. Can anybody in this class tell me a number that when you put it inside the absolute value and then you take it out, that it will equal a negative number? Can anybody tell me any number that can do that? So you're saying nobody can think of a number when you take it out of an absolute value symbol that it will equal a negative number?
0. Because 0 has no value.
Yeah, but the absolute value of 0 is 0, right? It's not 0, it's not negative, it's 0, right?
0 is not positive.
Okay. But it's not negative. It's the point here. Okay. So here's the thing. What did you just find out? Well, that's okay. Okay. What you guys just found out? That there is what? There's no answer. There's no number, which is what you were saying. Okay, I just ignored you for a while. Okay. All right. So here's what you write down. What you write down is that there is no solution to this problem. That's what you write down. So write it down in your notes. There's no solution. It's impossible. You can't do this. And that's not all the curriculum. Now it is on Springboard. Okay? All right, so take a look at this. Here's example C. All right, absolute value of 2x plus 3 plus 1 is greater than 6. These are absolute inequalities. All right, is the absolute value by itself? No. What do you do first? Subtract 1. Okay, so you're going to subtract 1. You get absolute value 2x plus 3 is greater than 5, right? All right, now is the absolute value by itself? Yes, it is. Okay, so now you drop the sign, write it down twice, okay? So here, drop the bars, write it down once, and now here's where it's different. Drop the bars and write it down twice. There's the negative. When you put the negative in front of this with an inequality, the inequality sign is flipped over like that. It goes the opposite direction. Okay, so now you just change the direction of the sign. Now you solve it, right? Okay, so what are you going to do here first? Solving for x. Subtract 3 from both sides. Subtract 3 from both sides. That'll give you 2. Subtract 3 from both sides. That'll give you negative 8. Okay, what are you going to do next to solve for x? Divide by 2. Okay, so 2 divided by 2 is? Okay, or 2 divided into negative 8 is? Negative 4. There you go. You're set. There's the answer. Oops, kind of went to the right there a little bit. Okay, now we're going to graph this. Okay, so we're going to go to 1, right? Okay, now these are inequalities. X is greater than 1. So tell me this, is it a hollow point or a filled-in point? Hollow is right, right. It doesn't say equals, it only says greater than. So you go to 1 and put a hollow point. Now, it's greater than 1, so where do you shade? The right or the left of it? Okay, very good. To the right of it is right. Greater than is to the right. It goes like this. There's that one. Okay, let's go to -4. Is it hollow or filled in? It's hollow at -4. All right, x is less than -4. So which way does it go? To the left or to the right? To the left is correct. And there you go. And there's your graph right there. Just like that. You're done. Okay, everybody good on that? Okay, so let's go to B. Okay, is the absolute value by itself? No. Okay, so what's the first thing I'm going to do? Subtract 5 on both sides. Okay, very good. So absolute 3x minus 1, okay, is less than 2, right? 7 minus 5 is 2. Now is the absolute by itself? Yes. So now drop the bars, write it twice. Here's the positive one, and then here's the negative one. Flip the sign, put the negative onto it. Okay, now what do you do next? You add. What do you add to both sides? What's that? Okay, all right, look. The symbol, okay, the symbol's pointing to the left, right? And the arrow's going to the left, right? So then when you stick the negative onto that, it'll flip over and go to that way, okay? Okay? All right, so now, what do you do next? You add 1 to both sides, right? Okay, so you're going to have this there, and you're going to have this. Okay, and now what do? Divide by 3. So that x is less than 1, and x is greater than -1/3, right? There's your answer. Okay, now you got to graph this. Okay, so tell me this. At 1, is it hollow or filled in? At 1. It's hollow, right? There's no equal sign. It's hollow. Which way does it go, left or right? Say again? Okay, so it goes to the right. X is less than 1, so less than is to the right. And it's to the left, right? It's to the left. It's like this. Okay, now x is greater than -1/3. Okay, there's no -1/3 on the table, on the graph, right? So you got to kind of guess where it is. So it's about here. Got to put it in there like that. Okay, now hollow, right? Now which way does it go? To the right or to the left? To the right. That one goes to the right. Look what happens. They both run into each other. There's the graph right there. All right, so we're going to do B then. Okay, so let me ask you this first. Is the absolute by itself? So what do you have to do? You have to add 3. Okay, so we're going to add 3 to both sides, right? So -1 plus 3 gives me 2. Okay, now is it by itself? Drop the bars, write it twice. Okay, so here's the first one. And then here's the second one. Flip the sign, put a negative on it, right? Okay, now what do I have to do to get x by itself? Subtract 2 from both sides. So how much is 2 minus 2? 0, right? Okay, and how about is -2 minus 2? -4 is right. Okay, there you go. All right, so here's the answer, right? Like this. Okay, now let's go to graphing it. Okay, so now here's gonna plot the graph. Here's 0, and here's -1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's -4. Okay, now you tell me this. At 0, is it hollow or filled in? It's filled in. There's an equal sign, so it's a filled in point, right? So this one's filled in like this. And which way do you shade it? X is less than. To the left or to the right? To the left. Less is to the left. Okay, now look at -4. Okay, is it hollow or filled in? Filled in. Okay, and which way do you shade that one? To the left or to the right? To the right. Very good. It's greater than. To the right. Okay, so these two run into each other, right? Like that. There you go. You got it. Problem's over. All's good? Okay, all right, so now here's the assignment here. Let me show you the assignment. All right, so that's what you're going to work on. And once again, you don't have to work on this tomorrow in class after you finish the quiz. And you just get to work on this in class, right? It's pretty basic and simple. There's not much to this one. It's like, okay, let me just go through it and make sure I know how to do all this stuff, all right? And you're good to go. All right,